Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into the creepy, chaotic, and totally insane world of Once Human. If you haven't heard about it yet, it's a multiplayer open-world survival game where the apocalypse isn't just about zombies or nukes. It's full of supernatural horrors, mutated creatures, and some seriously bizarre anomalies. The game's dropping on mobile on April 23rd, 2025. And let me tell you, it looks like it's going to be one wild ride. Whether you're exploring the wasteland solo or teaming up with friends, you'll need one thing above all else: a solid weapon in your hands. In this video, we're breaking down the best weapons in Once Human for all PvE game modes. Yep, we've put together a full tier list so you know exactly what to grab when things get messy. From rifles that shred through mobs to heavy hitters perfect for taking down bosses, we've got you covered. So grab a snack, get comfy, and let's check out which weapons will help you survive and thrive in this strange new world. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking weapons in Once Human. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. The weapons in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: R500, Hammerhead Shark, G17, Dusty, MPS7, Div Evo, Compound Bow, R500, Hunter, MG4, Wrath of Hades, ACS-12, Netherworld, and KMR, Crumble. You ever fall for a weapon that looks cool but ends up hitting like a wet noodle? Yeah, welcome to B rank. Let's kick things off with the R500, Hammerhead Shark. Now I know, cool name, looks slick, sounds deadly. But trying to land weak spot shots with a pistol is like trying to thread a needle during an earthquake. Sure, there's an 80% chance to trigger power surge when you do hit that sweet spot, and that surge spreads 100% psi intensity shock damage to nearby enemies while also refilling your ammo every 4 shock damage dealt. But let's be real, the raw damage just isn't there. It's like bringing a taser to a gunfight. Next up, the G17 Dusty. This one's your reliable middle-of-the-pack kind of buddy. Not flashy, but not trash either. It has a 55% chance to trigger shrapnel on weak spot hits. And the cool thing is that this shrapnel doesn't ignore parts you've already hit, which actually makes it more useful than it sounds. Throw in a 15% bonus to weak spot damage, and you've got a pistol that quietly puts in the work, if you're accurate enough to land those weak spot shots in the first place. Then there's the MPS7, Div Evo, the submachine gun that tries its best, but bless its heart. The base shrapnel chance is only 25%, and even after you defeat enemies and get that juicy 80% increase, it only climbs up to 45%. Not great. And yes, hitting weak spots does let you tag extra parts for shrapnel for 4 seconds, but without a solid damage bonus, it all kind of falls flat. In a game full of overachievers, Div Evo is the kid who forgot there was homework. Alright, let's talk about the Compound Bow. Now, I want to love this weapon, I really do. But when you've only got 1 bolt per shot and you're stuck with a painfully slow reload, it starts to feel more like a chore than a choice. There's a 40% chance to automatically reload a bolt when you hit a weak spot, which is okay. And sure, it comes with a nice bump to critical rate and reload speed, and it boosts the unstable bomber perk. But all that still doesn't save it from being the slowpoke of the sniper world. On the plus side, you don't need acid for ammo. So, silver linings? Moving on to the R500, Hunter. And this one's a bit of a nostalgia trip. Early in the game, this pistol feels amazing thanks to the impact perk, which boosts damage against protocell enemies like metahumans, Rosette, vultures, and zombies. Sounds great, right? But then you hit the late game and realize it's basically a toy against deviants. The Hunter peaks early, and then just kind of fizzles out when the big boys show up. Now let's talk about the MG4, Wrath of Hades. With a name like that, you'd expect it to rain hell. Instead, it awkwardly passes bullets to your secondary weapon. It has a 40% chance to trigger Fast Gunner, which refills 1 bullet, but only for your secondary gun. Unless your sidearm is some kind of miracle machine, this just doesn't hit where it counts. Literally, the primary weapon itself gains nothing in terms of damage. It's like being handed a pizza and told, "You can't eat this, but your neighbor can." Then we have the ACS-12, Netherworld, and hoo boy, this one is rough. You've got to land every projectile to even have a chance, a 50% chance mind you, of triggering Fast Gunner. And if you manage to do that twice, you're rewarded with 1 shot that burns an extra bullet just to fire 5 more projectiles. It's like solving a Rubik's Cube only to win a keychain. Technically a prize, but really? Last but not least, let's drag the HAMR, Crumble into the spotlight. This sniper rifle promises burn damage but delivers more of a toasty inconvenience than an actual threat. It has a 60% chance to inflict burn on weak spot hits, which sounds spicy, until you realize it only deals 10% burn damage. That's not firepower, that's a scented candle. It stacks over time, sure, but it's not going to stop anyone from chasing you down with actual weapons. The weapons in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: HAMR, Brahmini, Recurve Crossbow, S870, Sandstorm, KVD, Boom, Boom, DB12, Backfire, MG4, Mr. Squid, SN700, Gulped Lore, MPS5, Kumawink, KVSBR, Little Jaws, KAM, Crank, R500, Memento, and KAM, Abyss Glance. Ah, the sweet sound of bullets bouncing off skulls like it's a chaotic metal pinball machine. You guessed it, we're talking about the HAMR, Brahmini. This bad boy turns every weak spot shot into a potential damage party thanks to an 80% chance to trigger the bounce effect. And if that ricochet doesn't finish the job, your next shot gets a 20% weapon damage boost. Even better, this bonus stacks up to 5 times. What's cool is bounce actually targets enemies with the highest health first, so you're not wasting damage on that one guy limping in the corner. With the right gear, this thing becomes a battlefield ripple machine. Now let's talk about the Recurve Crossbow. Yes, I know, it looks like something you'd see in a medieval archery tournament, but this one's got a twist. Land a shot on a weak spot and you'll activate the bullseye effect. That gives all your weapons a 15% critical rate boost against the same enemy for 10 seconds. It's like putting a big neon sign on their head that says, KRIT me. Perfect for players who love stacking damage and making every shot count, especially in a critical hit build. Switching things up literally, we have the S870, Sandstorm. On the surface, it's just a shotgun, right? Nope. When you swap it in, you activate Fortress Warfare on a 20-second cooldown, which gives you and your buddies a 2-meter zone of heavy armor. That means plus 20% damage taken reduction and a 10% weapon damage boost. It's like throwing a pocket-sized fortress at your team's feet. Just remember to keep swapping, or you're basically holding a glorified pump-action paperweight. If fire is your thing and you dream of watching everything around you burn, in-game of course, the KVD, Boom Boom, might light your fire. It's all about burn synergy here, stacking those burn effects until your enemies just can't take the heat. But without the right setup and gear, it quickly fizzles out. Think of it like a firework. Spectacular when it goes off, but kinda sad if it doesn't. Definitely for pyromaniacs with commitment issues. Let's cool things down with the DB12. Backfire. This frosty shotgun gives you Frost Vortex after every 5 shots, freezing enemies in place for 3 seconds. Sounds cool, right? Problem is, 5 shots can feel like a long time in combat. Still, once that vortex kicks in, frozen enemies take extra damage. So it's not a bad crowd control tool, just not the speediest option out there. Kinda like that one friend who shows up late but brings snacks. The MG4, Mr. Squid. Yes, it's really called Mr. Squid. Don't let the name fool you. This light machine gun is actually a solid pick for critical builds. Why? Because it can trigger bounce, but only if you land critical hits. So no crits, no ink splatter fun. With the right overrides like Bounce Rampage and Deadly Combo though, this cephalopod can absolutely slap. Just don't expect it to carry without the proper setup. Snipers, we haven't forgotten you. The SN700, Gulped Lore, lives and dies by weak spot accuracy. It has an 80% chance to trigger Unstable Bomber on weak spot hits, and the damage scales with your weak spot damage stat. Even better, the bomber always crits. So if your aim is true, this thing melts enemies. But if you're a body shot bandit, you're probably better off with something a little more forgiving. Finally, let's not ignore the just okay crowd, starting with the MPS5, Kumawink. This submachine gun offers a 25% chance to bounce, plus a 60% boost on weak spot hits and an extra 50% to bounce base damage. Sounds great, but it still doesn't quite hit hard enough to stand out. It's like a solid backup dancer. It keeps the rhythm, looks cool doing it, but no one's handing it the mic. Still, in the right build, it can support your setup just fine. The weapons in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: Sucker, Outsider, MG4, Predator, DBSG, Doombringer, ACS-12, Corrosion, AWS 338, Black Panther, DB-12, Raining Cash, and Dual Fury. Alright, let's dive into the S-rank weapons in Once Human. These guns are the absolute cream of the crop, the big hitters, the ones you want in your hands when you're ready to dominate the battlefield. No need for any fluff here. Let's break down the most lethal tools you can wield. First up, we've got the Sucker, Outsider. This beauty is made for crit builds, and it's ready to turn your enemies into confetti. With a solid 35% chance to trigger Power Surge on every hit, you're already stacking some serious crowd control. But it gets better. Every critical hit boosts the chance of triggering Power Surge by another 30% for 3 seconds. So when you land those critical hits, you're just rolling in Power Surge chances, making your crits that much more impactful. It's like crits on crits, and who doesn't love that? Next, we're looking at the MG4, Predator. Now, if you love laying down a serious hail of bullets, this is your weapon. The MG4, Predator comes with a 40% chance to trigger Fast Gunner on each hit, cranking up your fire rate and attack speed faster than you can blink. But it doesn't stop there. When Fast Gunner stacks hit a multiple of 5, you get 0.5 seconds of infinite ammo. That's right. Zero worries about running out of bullets while you're obliterating everything in sight. Plus, if you keep hitting the same target, your weapon damage increases by 2% with each consecutive hit, stacking up to 40%. So it's all about staying on target and watching that damage snowball. And if you're lucky enough to have more than 50% of your magazine left, you're also getting a nice 40% attack boost. This is an LMG that just keeps on giving. Moving on, we have the DBSG Doombringer. It might have been nerfed a little, but don't let that fool you. This shotgun is still a monster, especially up close. With a 30% chance to trigger the bullseye on each shot, you're landing some serious damage, and when you're in close range, that jumps to an 80% chance. The real trick to making this one shine is boosting its magazine capacity. Once you have a bigger clip, you can shred through enemies like there's no tomorrow. But remember, you're going to need to be in the enemy's face to keep marking them with every shot, so get ready for some close-quarter chaos. Now let's talk about the ACS-12. Corrosion, a shotgun that's an absolute beast, especially in PvP. It has a staggering 70% chance to trigger Power Surge on each hit. And when Power Surge activates, it doesn't just give you a little damage boost, it also enhances your crit rate by 15% and lets you stack crit damage up to 10 times. Every shot feels like a mini explosion, and with that extra Power Surge damage factor, you're turning your enemies into Swiss cheese. It's a powerhouse for anyone who loves blowing things up with some extra style. Next, we have the AWS 338, Black Panther. This sniper rifle is all about supporting your team while also dealing crazy damage. After 3 seconds of aiming, it activates Fortress Warfare, granting your squad some heavy armor and boosting your weapon damage. The longer you aim, the higher your attack gets, topping out at 30%. Once Fortress Warfare is active, you gain 3 stacks of Brutal Mayhem, which boosts your weak spot damage by 25%. Sure, the effect weakens with each shot, but that initial burst is enough to turn you into a sniper god. It's not just about picking off enemies at a distance, it's about making your team stronger while you're doing it. The DB-12, Raining Cash, is another powerhouse. All you need to do is press R to reload, and bam, you activate Fortress Warfare, giving you a solid power boost. Keep aiming, and you'll see your attack ramp up, hitting a hefty plus 40%. But wait, there's more. While you're in Fortress Warfare, you also get a 30% crit rate boost and a 30% damage reduction. It's a multifunctional weapon that doesn't just boost your damage, but also keeps you alive longer. Talk about being the full package. And then there's the Dual Fury. If you're all about setting things on fire, literally, this shotgun is made for you. Every time you empty a magazine, you set your target ablaze with a stack of burn. But here's the kicker. Land a perfect hit, and you'll double down on the flames. If you can land 4 flawless shots, you enter a burn state that ramps up your attack and makes enemies extra vulnerable. It does cost a little HP to maintain this state, but don't worry, it won't drop you to 0. This is the perfect weapon for those who love the thrill of crit builds and the satisfaction of watching everything burn. So there you have it, some of the best weapons in Once Human. Whether you're into shredding enemies with LMGs or turning things into smoldering piles of ash with shotguns, there's a weapon for every playstyle. So go ahead, pick your favorite, and start turning the battlefield into your playground. Just remember to have fun while you're out there. The weapons in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: AWS 338, Bullseye, SOCR, The Last Valor, MPS 7, Outer Space, DE50, Wildfire, and DE50, Jaws. Let's talk about weapons that make you feel like you're breaking the laws of physics in Once Human. No, I'm not talking about some random gear that looks cool but does nothing special. I'm talking about the absolute game changers, the SS rank weapons that make enemies wish they'd never crossed your path. So, buckle up because these bad boys are about to redefine your gameplay. First up, we've got the AWS 338, Bullseye. Seriously, this sniper rifle feels like it's straight out of a sniper's dream. With a 70% chance to trigger the bullseye on weak spots, you're basically playing with cheat codes here. And if that wasn't enough, every time you switch weapons, bam! The first shot marks the target. This is not just a sniper, it's a weak spot finding machine. Plus, stacking that weak spot damage by 15% for 10 seconds and boosting your attack by 15% for 20 seconds after a weak spot takedown makes you feel like the sniper god of the battlefield. Targets glowing with vulnerability? Yeah, it just got a whole lot easier to take them down. Then we've got the Soccer, The Last Valor. If you've been looking for a fast-firing assault rifle that throws out insane damage with every shot, this is the one you need. It's got a 4% chance to trigger shrapnel with each shot, and while that might sound low, don't let that fool you. With a ridiculously fast rate of fire, those chances add up real quick. But wait, crit hits? Oh yeah. They double the chances for shrapnel to trigger and slap on a plus 30% crit damage boost while you're at it. Before you know it, you've got a fireworks show going off in the middle of the battlefield. Don't let this weapon's fiery nature fool you. It's got valor in its name for a reason. Next up, we've got the MPS 7, Outer Space. Now, if you're into rapid-fire SMGs, this weapon's gonna make your day. The 25% base chance to trigger Power Surge means you'll be popping off Power Surges like they're nothing. But the fun doesn't stop there. Every time you take down an enemy, you get a 30% boost to your Power Surge trigger chance for a solid 12 seconds. Oh, and if you reload, you get an extra 40% boost for 3 seconds. You're going to be flooding the battlefield with those surges, and that's a good thing because it's going to turn every fight into a massive damage fest. If you've got the right accessories, the MPS 7 is basically your damage spam buddy. But let's not forget the DE50, Wildfire. Now, this weapon isn't just hot in name, it's hot in gameplay too. With a 60% chance to trigger the bullseye with each shot, it marks your target and spreads that mark to nearby enemies with an 80% chance. If no one else is around, enjoy a plus 25% weapon damage boost for 10 seconds. And when you start hitting those weak spots on marked enemies, get ready to stack your attack up to 9% for 10 seconds. Oh, and don't forget to pair it with the old Huntsman boots. These boots make sure that once you trigger the bullseye, your next shot will always hit a weak spot, no matter where it lands. It's like unlocking a cheat code for all your shots. Speaking of explosive gameplay, let's talk about the DE50, Jaws. This pistol is the real deal when you combine it with First Round Blast and the new series Detonation Cradle overrides. The unstable bomber triggers every 4 shots, and if you're landing crits, it'll go off even faster. You get a juicy plus 30% explosion elemental damage boost after hitting a weak spot, and with a 25% crit rate for unstable bomber, you've got a recipe for non-stop explosions. Honestly, if you love a bit of chaos with your combat, this weapon will make sure the kabooms keep on coming. Your enemies won't know what hit them, literally. Now, we can't forget about how these weapons interact with one another. Whether you're using the Bullseye Sniper with the Wildfire pistol or the Sucker Assault Rifle to create shrapnel mayhem, each one of these SS rank weapons brings a unique synergy that makes you feel like you're using a mix of science and magic to obliterate everything in your path. With these in your hands, you won't just be fighting enemies, you'll be dismantling entire armies with style. But here's the thing, don't just use these weapons, optimize them. Pair the right accessories, adjust your strategy to trigger those damage boosts, and enjoy the spectacle of it all. Every weapon has its moment to shine, but it's how you use them that really elevates your game. If you're looking to dominate the battlefield and leave your enemies begging for mercy, These SS rank weapons are exactly what you need. Whether it's sniping from a distance, blowing things up at close range, or just unleashing an unstoppable hailstorm of bullets, the power is in your hands. So grab one or all of these beasts and let the carnage begin. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.